You're both lawyers, and we've got Michael Cohen still on the stand. And the big news of the day, they're both listening audience, they're both shaking their heads and laughing. The big news of the day is they finally got to cross-examine him on whether he skimmed. There was $50,000 payment that he wanted Trump to reimburse him for, Michael Cohen. And it went to this company called Redfinch, which Cohen paid to rig 2 polls in Trump's favor. I think when he was running against you, Senator Cruz.
I remember.
And some extra services in there were to create a hashtag Women for Michael Cohen online social media. He couldn't get that going naturally. I know you're shocked.
I would think that would just be organic.
Right?
Yeah.
Weirdly. So he told Trump that he paid them $50,000 and he wanted to be reimbursed for it. Well, it turns out Michael Cohen only paid them $20,000. He paid them in a brown bag of cash, and then he demanded Trump reimburse him for $50,000. So he stole $30,000 from President Trump, which is a felony in and of itself. And last week was whining about how he didn't get his full bonus that year. Okay. And this is very shocking to the media. I don't know why, but let's talk about the bigger issue today, which is the judge pretty much boot slapping them again on their attempt to get Brad Smith to testify. The defense wants the jury to hear from an official about campaign finance law and what it really is, and the judge is not allowing it. Senator, what do you make of it?
Well, listen, with Michael Cohen admitting that he stole from Trump, I tweeted just a few minutes ago, they finally found a crime at the trial.
Yes.
Like there's something that actually is a crime.
Arrest
theft.
him. Nailed it.
But, look, that's the prosecution's star witness. That this whole thing makes the bar scene at Star Wars look good. I mean, this is the biggest collection of grifters and people who are shakedown artists. And listen, it's designed to be a political circus. So it's driven by a rabid left-wing prosecutor who wants to make a name for himself, who wants to go after Trump because he hates his guts. It's in front of a left-wing partisan judge who is ruling against Trump every chance he gets, and it has a jury pool drawn from New York that is likely to be pretty hostile to Trump as well. And this is not about law. This is not about facts. This is about a political smear job to go after Trump, and in particular, the target is the voters. The reason Trump has been indicted 4 times is because Democrats are terrified the voters are going to vote for him in November. This is all about trying to interfere with that election.
Mm-hmm. So do you think this guy, Brad Smith, should be allowed to get up there? I think he should get up there and say to the jury, because there's a window, because the judge said, maybe I'll let him testify on the definition of campaign finance, or like what a campaign expense is. That could do it. Because if he gets up there and says what he said to us, what he said to National Review, what I think he said in a Wall Street Journal editorial, what he's going to say as a former FEC commissioner who was appointed under Bill Clinton is, it's not what was in the defendant's head. His motivation is irrelevant to determining whether there was a campaign finance expense. All that matters is the nature of the payment. And if this is the kind of payment that could be made outside of the electoral context, then it doesn't fall within campaign finance law. And hush money payments have been made for a very, very long time. Wasn't Alexander Hamilton in trouble for making one of these? I mean,
it may have cost him the presidency.
So I don't know. What do you make of it, Senator Britt? I haven't heard you speak to this yet.
I think what we're seeing is just politics play out in front of us. And it's a sad day for democracy. It's a sad day for America to continue to see them attack a former president like this. And, when you watch this, and to the point, no crime, you look at the judge who's clearly partisan. I mean, the things that Ted just spoke to, it makes you know if they could do this to a former president, they can do it to any one of us. And I think that they continue to do these things to keep him off of the campaign trail and to try to shift the narrative. But I believe that will backfire on him, because I think the American people have had enough. We are sick of 2 tiers of justice. We are sick of watching these things that we may see in a banana republic play out in the United States of America. And I think that the voters are going to go to the ballot in November, and they're going to speak very decisively to this very issue.
Yeah, I think there's an outrage growing. I'll tell you this, Michael Cohen was they just finished the cross, finally, after a few days. They ended their cross, and redirect is beginning.
And
but
he was a disaster.
He was, let me tell you, it gets worse.
Even Anderson Cooper admitted how bad it was.
Because of the 14-year-old text, that whole thing. We talked about it last week, but if you didn't hear the program, it came out on Cross last Thursday, the last day they were in court, that Michael Cohen was getting harassed by a teenager, a 14-year-old. It was really bothering him. really got under his skin. He went to Trump's bodyguard saying, how do I get in touch with the Secret Service? I want to crack, like, no one cares about you.
No.
The Secret Service is not going to help you.
Yep.
And he claims that really what he called the bodyguard was to get Trump on the phone so he could tell him that he'd made the Stormy Daniel payment. And then it came out that moments before that, he was getting harassed. He was complaining and threatening the kid. And he was like, I'm going to call the Secret Service. And then he calls Keith Davidson, or Keith, whatever his last, Schiller, the bodyguard.
Right.
So it was very clear he was calling him about his own little harassment problem and not Stormy. And that's what had Anderson
and
saying,
every time
holy
he
crap.
speaks, he discredits himself.
Every time.
I mean, it's remarkable.
So
You know,
here's
he
what he
really
said this
should
morning.
learn to lie, not to lie when he's lying.
That's true. It's a simple rule.
Yeah.
He just mentioned, per the New York Times on the stand before they wrapped, that he is considering a third book and stand by, hold your hats, a run for Congress.
No.
Yeah, he wants to be with you guys because he has some of, quote, the best name recognition out there. He says his name recognition is affiliated with Trump because of the journey he's been on, but that it's not because of Trump. Not clear whether
Megyn, he
that's
said
a
these
real
things?
distinction. Yes, this morning.
On the stand. All right, so I got to ask, where is Anthony Weiner's old district?
Oh, crap, that's New York.
Yeah,
Here we go again.
He might be a perfect congressman. I don't know who. I feel sorry for the poor constituency.
How about George Santos? He could run out Long Island.
You know, George
There you go.
Santos, that maybe they could run as a ticket.
How high can you go in the U.S. government? If I guess all the way to the president as a convicted felon. We had that discussion when Trump got indicted. He could do it.
Certainly as a matter of law, yes.
And he'd have to run as a Democrat.
Well,
I don't
and
think
actually-
his affiliation with Trump is going to be helpful.
So worse than that, I don't know if you know the story of Alcee Hastings.
What happened to him?
Okay, so Alcee Hastings was a federal judge who was indicted for taking bribes. And he was convicted of taking bribes. So he was impeached and removed from office as a federal judge. And he served jail time for taking bribes as a judge.
That's right.
And then he turned around and ran for Congress and got elected.
What?
He was a Democrat member of Congress after having taken bribes as a federal judge and been...
Do you remember what jurisdiction or what state?
Oh, it was in the South. I don't remember where.
So there was a similar thing happened with this mayor of Bridgeport we discussed. Like a lot of people get, there are a lot of ex-cons in Congress. They put the con in Congress.
You know, it means their parole officer only has to go one place.
There you go.
Let me tell you a story about a guy named Leo Grillo. Leo was on a road trip and came across a Doberman. This dog was severely underweight and clearly in trouble. Leo rescued the dog and named him Delta. But sadly, Delta was just one of many animals that needed help, and this inspired Leo to start Delta Rescue, the largest no-kill, care-for-life animal sanctuary in the world. They've rescued thousands of dogs, cats, and horses from the wilderness, and they provide their animals with shelter, love, safety, a home. April marks 45 years since Leo rescued Delta. Delta Rescue relies solely on contributions. If you want caring for these animals to be part of your legacy, speak with your estate planner because there are tax benefits here too. You can grow your estate while letting your love for animals live well into the future. Check out the estate planning tab on their website to learn more and speak with your advisor. We call a dog a man's best friend for a reason. You can help those who need it most. Visit deltarescue.org today to learn more. That's deltarescue.org. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.